Hello, I'm Alexandra Coghlan, Glyndebourne's opera content specialist, and before you watch our festival production of The Magic Flute, I wanted to give you a very short introduction to Mozart's fantastical, philosophical final opera. Prince Tamino is on a quest to rescue the beautiful Pamina, the daughter of the Queen of the Night. With the help of the birdcatcher Papageno, he finds her, but also finds himself drawn to Zarastro's mysterious brotherhood. Tamino submits to a series of trials in order to prove his worthiness to join the order, and is rewarded with Pamina's hand in marriage. Papageno is also rewarded with a wife, and the Queen of the Night and her forces of darkness are finally defeated. This production of The Magic Flute from 2019 is Glyndebourne's first new flute for over 15 years. Now, we're synonymous with Mozart as a festival. Our first ever festival back in the 1930s was an all-Mozart season, so it's a big deal for us when we premiere a new production. And this staging is put together by the wonderful French-Canadian director-design duo André Barbe and Renaud Doucet. Now, they're directors who are absolutely synonymous with fairy tales, with spectacles, with fantasy, with magic. You know, they see an evening at the opera and an evening in the West End as a musical as very much the same thing. There's always something to look at, always some invention, some sort of visual creativity that's going hand in hand with storytelling. So when Barbe and Doucet were trying to find their way into this production, into this staging, they went to Vienna to research the origins of the opera, and that's when they discovered the story of the Sacher Hotel, the famous home of Sacher-Tort in that city. Now, at the turn of the century, that was taken over by Anna Sacher, the wife of the owner after her husband's death. And they began thinking about this question of, women in men's worlds, women who step into leadership roles and the kind of tensions and attacks they found themselves subject to. And they very much began to channel this figure of Anna Sacher through the character of the Queen of the Night. They were also thinking a little bit about Rosa Lewis, the mistress famously of Edward VII, who ran the Cavendish Hotel in London, the inspiration for the television series The Duchess of Duke Street. These very strong, assertive, decisive women who run their kingdom as far as society will let them. That in turn led the directors on to think about the suffragette movement, very much sort of in a way a parallel to the Enlightenment, a moment of social change, a moment in which we're questioning all of the absolutes and all of the certainties of our society. So what they've done in this incredibly visually inventive production is to set the action in the Sacher Hotel at the turn of the century. So the Queen of the Night becomes the proprietress, Zarastro becomes the chef, the king of every French kitchen, and all of the action sort of ricochets through the different parts of the hotel, from the conservatory to the corridors, the kitchens, the bedrooms. I don't want to give the game away too much, but Barbe and Doucet needed to have 11 sets to fulfill their vision of this particular staging, which they realised they couldn't do conventionally, it would be impossible. So they've gone back to a much older technique of hand-painted flats. Everything you see in this opera is hand-drawn by André Barbe himself and then blown up to theatrical size. So there's a wonderful kind of intimacy and an old-fashioned quality to the drama. So the staging of The Magic Flute that you're about to watch was filmed at the Glyndebourne Festival in 2019 when the production was brand new. It's conducted by Ryan Wigglesworth, an amazingly talented, young, up-and-coming British conductor. And what I love about this staging, I think, is that the cast also is very young, and there's a real energy and a sense of discovery and kind of joy in each other's talent and this wonderfully playful staging. So we have Bjorn Burger, who you may remember from The Barber of Seville. He plays Papageno, the Birdman. We have the Russian soprano Sofia Fomina as Pamina, and Brindley Sherratt, the wonderful British bass, sort of anchoring the cast as Zarastro. I do hope you enjoy the performance.